Hello and welcome all. You're watching Football Daddy. My name is Ankit Agarwal, and as usual, I'm joined by my good friend Saksham Maria. As we sit to record this video, it's 25th November, 10:30 at night, and we've just got to hear the news that the Argentinian legend, the Napoli legend, one of the greatest ever player to play in the game, Diego Maradona, has passed away due to a cardiac arrest at home. He was aged 60. We've all had some sort of a memory attached with Diego Maradona. At least, in our generation, we have never seen him play live, but we've heard the stories. We have heard, the hand of God in the World Cup. We have heard the stories of his legend in Napoli and all of that stuff. It's a very sad note to
Yeah.
start the video on, but I think as a football channel, as someone who dedicate our time to talking about football, we could not have, I think, begun anyway rather than talking about this story because it directly affects the entire world of football,
Yeah.
and it's a very very sad story. So our our prayers are with his family and to all the fans in the world who are, of course, mourning right now. So I think the best way would be just to go ahead and talk about what we can and what we love the most, football. So we are here to talk about the game week 10. We will be talking about the matches and we'll be predicting, as usual, we'll be predicting some of the results, and also we will also be doing the FPL picks, FPL tips, and we'll also be giving you our FPL picks of the week so that you can go ahead and tweak your team to the best of your capacity. Also, guys, if you're not already joined, you will find the link at the right bottom and right corner of the screen, the FPL code for Football Daddy Fantasy League. Do join in. It's a fun league that we have started for all our subscribers. So it'll be a fun thing. And you'll also find the link in the description box below. So without any further ado, Saksham, so starting off with a quick game week 9 recap. So we had some really exciting matches in the weekend as we predicted. Starting off with Chelsea versus Newcastle, Chelsea winning 2-0. As we talked last week about consistency that Chelsea is kind of gaining, so that was a good result for them. Quite a shocker was Brighton versus Aston Villa, but given how Brighton has been really good defensively, it was not quite shocking. But yeah, Grealish not getting any point in this, the 1 pointer was quite bad for my FPL pick personally. The biggest game of the weekend was Spurs versus City. We did predict a victory for Spurs, 2-1 victory. It was 2-0 for Spurs. Quite some victories, Aksham.
So Spurs scored the first goal within 5 minutes, the second goal under a minute in the second half, and that's vintage Mourinho scoring as early as possible, and giving the position away to the team. And in the press conference, he, as you highlighted in your Instagram story, that so Mourinho said he Pep can take the ball with him. It doesn't matter whether he has position or not. Mourinho is going home with 3 points, and I think that kind of sums up the entire game. And Mourinho,
What a personality, man!
yeah.
Like, what a great personality
He's the
Jose
chillest
Mourinho is, and I think,
manager ever, right?
and I think, like, yeah, absolutely. But I think a great amount of credit should be given to his tactics. Like, as something that I also posted about how he was changing his formation midway. Like, they started with a 4-3-3. While defending, they went back to a 4-4-2. With Bergwijn and Kane up front and Son coming back to defend. But then when he saw that Cancelo was causing a lot of problems for Serge Aurier, then he basically asked Sissoko to come to Serge Aurier's side as an extra right back and to help out, and then they turned into a 5-4-1. So all of these changes in the middle of the game was absolutely fantastic, keeping the game very narrow, not allowing Man City to crowd the center. Amazing tactics from Jose
And
Mourinho.
Ankit, if you had to pick
points.
one MVP for the match, who would it be? For me personally, I think it would be Kane, because he had the most impressive match, and I think he was
Correct.
playing the role of two players at once, making those passes,
Correct.
and
Absolutely.
being a threat in the attack.
Absolutely. Like, even for that goal for Son, it was
Yeah.
Kane's run that basically put the pulled the defender apart to create that space. So amazing game by Kane. Moving forward with the second day of the game week 9, we saw Manchester United in a very boring 1-0 match against West Brom. I would say it would probably should have been a draw, but except the penalty that we were awarded. But Rashford and Marshall also missed two very easy chances, so that should be taken with a pinch of salt. Everton beating Fulham 3-2. Looking shaky, very, very shaky in defensively. I think, Sakshi, you also have a few points about Everton, which we are going to get into in the future in the video. And then there was Arsenal versus Leeds, which I personally think Leeds should have comfortably won. They did not take their chances. Arsenal was absolutely poor in that game. Sakshi, your thoughts? A moment of silence, okay? We get that?
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have this amazing thing. There's a famous fan page made by Arsenal fans. It's called Pain in the Arsenal. And Pain in the Arsenal tweeted that night. Pain in the Arsenal. Oh my god, you're playing so poorly right now. Oh god, it's hard to watch. Like midway, I changed to some other game. I think probably Counter Strike or something because it was getting so boring. And Pepe OP in the chat. Oh god, what the hell? It is our cursed winter like every other season under Wenger. We have started our poor form again, and we have an average of 1.1 shots per game, and that's terrible. We have scored 9 goals yet, and I mean that shows how much you're lacking attack when it comes to attacking forefront. And when we want players like Ceballos to step up, to pay those passes, we're missing that factor. And Arteta, if you're watching this video, please bring in Ozil back.
Please bring Ozil back.
Yeah,
but I personally think that Arsenal played much better when Saka came on the pitch.
Yeah.
So
Saka has been our best player, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, and I think it was a good sign that Arteta was willing to give him some rest, because I think he kind of knows that he's the only one, he's ready to make those runs. And these should have been an easy 3-point victory for us, but as things turn out in PL.
And then we saw Leicester beating Liverpool beating Leicester 3-0, quite the opposite of what we predicted.
Yeah.
So it was an amazing match to watch. Like, as a United fan, I hated watching that match because you're watching Liverpool knowing that they're down with so many players, they do not have so many of their great superstars playing, yet they went full throttle, they went full attack. They did not for once look like a team who is battling with nine injury problems. And that has to go with the Jurgen Klopp's mentality of how to treat the game. Diogo Jota created a record for becoming the first Liverpool player to score in the first 4 Premier League games. So Diogo Jota setting records already for Liverpool. He looks amazing player. What is your thoughts?
Yeah, so Liverpool extending the unbeaten home run, and I think the brightest sign that we had in the entire match was probably Firmino scoring a goal. And right when you want players to step up, Firmino, I don't know after how long he has scored 1 goal. He has only scored 2 goals this season, and this is a good sign.
Moving forward with the game week 10 matches, as you can see, we have the game week 10 fixtures on the screen for you. So first point of topic that we are going to discuss is, can Pep revive City? Manchester City play Burnley at home. So they're playing Burnley, which is a very strong defensive side. Sean Dyche always fixes his team up to defend well and defend properly. They have also got Tarkowski, who's a very good defender at the back. So Saksham, what do you think? Can Pep revive City? He has extended his contract till 23. Messi is probably coming to them next season.
Yeah.
So what can Pep do?
Maybe let's hold on our monies right now when it comes to FPL picks and wait for Messi to come into the team, and maybe then we can invest. But jokes apart, I think Sterling can be the one stepping up because Burnley likes to drop back a lot, and they'll be happy to give City's position, and that's when wingers like Sterling or Mahrez gets the better of. And Sterling, I don't see him scoring because he's terrible when it comes to one-on-one against a goalkeeper. But yeah, I think he can provide a few assists. And Bruyne we can see a sort of upward movement of his form. Interesting match, but not the most exciting one.
My prediction would be 2-0 for City, 2 or 3-0 for City. You?
2-0 for City. Yeah, 2-0.
The next game that is of interest this week is Southampton versus Man United. Man United are coming in with 3 matches on a victory run. So they have beaten Everton 3-1, then West Brom 1-0, and then they beat Istanbul Basaksehir in the Champions League match 4-1. A very, very strong display of football by Manchester United. Southampton also are on a great run. You know, they beat Aston Villa the previous week and then drew to Wolves this week. So, Saksham, what do you reckon how this match is going to go?
Yeah, Southampton has been looking really interesting to watch and really fun to watch. And Manchester United has, it started picking up form. And, with Bruno Fernandes in the team, I think we're kind of enjoying how he performs. But on the longer run, I think I think fatigue might kick in for United, and I hope it does so that, they go below Arsenal in this table. But yeah, anyway, I think Southampton can pull off a draw, especially because it's a home game.
I expect it to be a cracker of a match. I expect it to be, after Spurs versus Chelsea, the best match to watch this weekend, because Southampton likes to attack. They do not like to sit back. Under Hasenhall, they have played a very expansive style of football. If United go toe to toe with Southampton, if Ole decides to play the way he played against Istanbul Basaksehir last night, I expect it to be a cracker of a match. So I'm expecting a 3-2 or a 3-1 victory for United.
Oh, okay.
Trying to be optimistic here, but
my prediction would be that it is going to be kind of a boring game, or not because not from the Southampton side, but probably from the United side, because fatigue again. Fatigue again. Might be a 0-0 draw or maybe a 1-1 stalemate.
Going forward to I think the most exciting game for the weekend, Chelsea versus Spurs. We have written here title decider. So we had this conversation right before we shot the video that I wrote title decider. You saw it. You thought that you had texted me title decider, and we basically did. You did not text me. I thought of this match to be title decider.
Yeah.
You also thought this match to be title decider. So yeah, it is probably a title decider. Something that we would not have been probably talking about at the start of the season, but here we are. I do not know how, but yeah, here we are.
Yeah, so Chelsea have I don't know how, but they have crawled into the top 5 spot, and they have been looking really solid, especially in the defense, which was the biggest problem in the starting first few game weeks. But now that kind of seemed to have resolved, and when it comes to FPL, there are 3 players from the Chelsea side in a top 10 FPL players right now in the defense, of course.
Going back to this game, but from the Chelsea side of things. Frank Lampard would be coming into this game knowing that he's against a very tough opponent in Spurs, who are in the best form they have been in a long time. So what would Chelsea be thinking and telling themselves? Chelsea has been consistent, and so has Spurs, and both of them have been getting those victories. What do you say? What do you think Frank Lampard must be telling his team?
As a spectator, I think it will be pretty easy. Pass the ball to Ziyech. He'll pass the ball to Werner, Abraham, I don't know, and just score a goal or two. I think he'll be asking a lot from his midfielders right now, because against a Mourinho team, you want your midfielders to be, always prepared and ready for those runs. And even the slightest of mistakes can result in a goal against a Mourinho team, and that's
correct.
Really what happened. Under 5 minutes, under 1 minute, they scored a goal. Might turn out to be a boring game because Ziyech will keep passing the ball into the Spurs side. Sissoko will make those runs and wait for players to drop to make those forward runs in front of him, like Kane and so on. And yeah, maybe we can see a few goals from the Spurs side, but holistically speaking, I think this might be a boring match. For me personally, the most exciting match of this week is probably Everton versus Leeds. We'll discuss that later, but right now the prediction for me would be I hope Chelsea wins. 2-1 victory for Chelsea.
I would go with a 2-1 victory for Chelsea as well. I would also go with Chelsea 2-1.
I hope they win because it's Spurs.
Yeah.
Loser.
I just instinctively think that Chelsea would be better in this game. So going to the next game, Arsenal play Wolves. Arsenal's is Arteta philosophy slipping? Is there any philosophy left? Has he over defended his team? Your team's Arsenal team is doing brilliant work at the back, but has he focused too much on defense that they've forgotten how to attack?
Yeah, so kind of hurts. discussing Arsenal like this, but I think we kind of sort of overhyped Arteta when he came to our team, especially given the first few results. Right now, the teams kind to have blown away, and this is such a boring and frustrating team to watch right now. We need a Bruno Fernandes, De Bruyne, some creative player, someone to make those chances. Aubameyang, I don't think I won't blame Aubameyang for his lack of goals, because I think he's still one of the best Premier League strikers in front of the goal. It comes down to the creative players, and please bring in Ozil, please, I beg you, man. We're struggling a bit too much for the top 5 team, and now I'm kind of starting to contemplate in hindsight whether it was a wise decision from me picking Arsenal in the top 5, especially how scary Spurs is looking right now. But nah, we'll just pull it off.
So talking about, I think you had a point to make about Everton versus Leeds. You said this is the match that you're most looking forward to, Saksham.
Yeah.
Take us through your thought process on that game. So by the way, Arsenal versus Wolves prediction.
Probably a 1-1 draw or 1-0 victory for Arsenal.
I'm going for a 2-1 victory for Wolves. They look a better side than Arsenal. Going to Everton versus Leeds. Saksham, take us through your thought process on that game.
Yeah, so right when Digne, Richarlison and Rodriguez are back into the team, Everton scores 3 goals, and I think these are the 3 MVP players from in the Ancelotti side, and the defense has been terrible. Like, I was a Fulham game. Correct. And there were so many leaky moments in the defense, but when it comes to attacking side, they're pretty interesting to watch, and Leeds again is such a fun team to watch when they're attacking. So I think this is going to be a 3, 4, maybe 5 goal series. I'll be expecting Calvert-Lewin, Harris and Bamford to score goals.
Bamford to score, correct.
So moving on to the next slide, we have Ankit's team for FPL this week.
So far, I have not made any changes to my squad because honestly, I'm not thinking to make any changes this week. I'm kind of thinking that I'll probably save a transfer this week and go ahead with the same team. There are some players that worry me in my team right now, so I'm not going to waste my time talking about every player, but there are certain players that worry me in my team right now. They are Sterling, Bamford, and I am also worried about a Dallas and a Target. So these 4 players I'm really, really worried about. Sterling, because it has been too long. I have been holding on to him for, I think, since game week 1, and he has never returned good points, except like for 1 or 2 game weeks. He has been really poor, and that is causing me a bit of worry that probably I'll need to shift him out for a Kevin De Bruyne, because I would still need to have a City asset. So as I was speaking earlier about upside chasing, so the theory basically says that you need to basically understand when a team is going to perform very well, enter into that team at that point of time, and try to leave when they start dipping their form. I kind of think that City are going to hit that sweet spot where they're going to dominate the teams that they're playing against. The next 4 game weeks are very easy for them. I think they're playing Burnley this week, and then they play Newcastle, Fulham, and West Brom. Like, these are the next 4 games that they're playing. So they could not have asked for easier fixtures than these 4 games. So I think that City are going to score a lot of goals in these 4 games, and a player like Kevin De Bruyne and Sterling could be handy. I would personally go with a Kevin De Bruyne over Sterling, because even though he is not producing as many assists, he's playing as a more number 10 position, and his shots inside the box is higher than last year till this point of time. About Bamford, he's a hit and a miss. Like, you keep him, he scores a lot of goals one game and he blanks for the next 2 game weeks. So he's not a sure shot, but under a 7 million option, he's still a good pick. About Dallas and Target, Dallas is playing as more and more like a CDM right now. Like, he was playing in the midfield, but he is more supporting Calvin Phillips in the CDM position. He's not going forward. You're not getting a lot of chances from him. So I'm also thinking of shifting him out. And even Target, Aston Villa is not looking consistent. I would probably go with a Cresswell from West Ham right now, because he looks a better option. So that was my opinion, and I would probably bring in Jota for this week. He was on my bench and he got 9 points. I'm so sad about it. But yeah, that was my
So
my
if
team
you
selection.
were to bring in Jota instead of one player, who would it be, Ankit, for you?
I'd probably sit Bamford. And bring in Jota.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving
So
on to
Saksham,
my
moving forward to your team.
we
You bro,
yeah.
you made some changes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you
Yeah.
stuck to your guns, but I made two changes right here. So I bought in Salah because when he comes back from injury or takes his time off, he scores a goal, maybe a couple of goals, I don't know. But yeah, I'm expecting him to score. I sold Bamford and bought in Watkins because Watkins seems to be in a hotter form right now. I am sticking to Cancelo because if you look at the fixtures, City is going to face some easy teams, easy points there.
Correct.
I'll probably be ditching Edison and bring in McCarthy because he has been in wonderful form. I actually watched the match, Southampton versus Wolves, and he was brilliant. Made some amazing saves, but right now this
Correct.
seems
Correct.
like a good team. Mendy is also a good option right now because out of the 9 games he has played, he has made 7 saves, 7 clean sheets, not saves, clean sheets.
Yeah.
That's
Correct.
brilliant. We can move over to the most exciting section right now, Ankit. Do you agree with me, Ankit? Do you
Yep,
agree?
I do agree with you.
Okay.
So we start off with
Yeah,
our FPL picks for the
even
week.
I get excited when you get into this section. That's so weird. I'm part of this
I
video
have
making
made
team. What the hell? Sorry?
I have made some very bold choices, by the way, as you can see on the
Ooh.
screen with goalkeepers. Okay,
Okay.
so Saksham, you went with Leno and Martinez. I went with Laurie and Ramsdale. I just tell you my thought. I just tell you with my thought process that I was mostly looking at what goalkeeper would I like to bring in for this particular game week, and not probably say for a longer period. So I would not touch Ramsdale or Laurie for the longer period. Maybe Laurie, but not Ramsdale. But for this particular game week, I think he's a good pick. So yeah, Saksham, as you were saying.
Yeah, we kind of swapped our two goalkeepers. Like last week, I picked Loris and you picked Leno. Right?
Correct.
But yeah, so
Correct. No, I picked Martinez.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. So thing is that whenever Arsenal defense starts to struggle, it's always Leno that steps up. He made amazing saves and got 9 points in the FPL, and right now we hope that he keeps making those saves. So at least defensively we are not conceding a lot, and if we are lucky enough, steal those 3 points. Martinez, again, amazing player, ex-Arsenal player. And Aston Villa has some easy fixtures coming up, not the hardest. So yeah, keeping him would be a wise choice. And if I had to pick a third goalkeeper, probably McCarthy, given how well he's playing right now. I have Konsa
Both these
and
players you
Alioski.
have in your team.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell? But yeah, Cancelo, I think City is going to have some, again, easy fixtures right now. So Cancelo is going to be a wise choice. I have him in my team. So Ankit, thank you for justifying my point.
You're welcome. Yeah, as we said, basically, City have very easy fixtures coming up. They play Burnley, they play Newcastle, they play Fulham, and they play Newcastle and West Brom. So these are very easy fixtures for City, and for a player like Cancelo who has been in great form, I'm afraid that he might get rested in one of those games because Pep has been known to rest his fullbacks to switch things around. So he might try to experiment things with these low-tier teams. So that is my only concern with Cancelo. With Cresswell, again, he's been looking at fine form for West Ham United. So that is why I went with Cresswell. Saksham, you went with Konsa and Alioski. Strange picks.
Yeah, strange picks. Alioski for me would not be a long run choice, but he is playing against Everton, and you can easily exploit Everton's fullbacks if you can. And Alioski is
correct,
and I think that's where Alioski is going to shine. So that's why I'm picking him. I expect a few great crosses from him. Konsa has been a consistent player, so I have actually both of them in my team, Konsa and Alioski, and and they gave me a combined total of 17 points. That's amazing. So yeah, I'll probably ship out Alioski, but Konsa looks like a long-term investment for me. Not wasting much time over here. I think let's move on to the midfielders. I picked Ziyech and Salah. Again, as I said earlier, I am expecting Salah to score and create a few assists. Ziyech, I think he will be the only one who can crack Spurs' defense right now with those crosses, because you can't just expect to make those through balls and score goals. Like we saw how successfully City had failed against Spurs, right? So yeah, Ankit, your picks, De Bruyne and Bruno. Go ahead.
Yeah, Bruno is quite an obvious choice because he is the Manchester United's talisman. He is the one who is keeping the team together. He is probably the only player in the United squad right now who would probably make the matchday squad for the '08 or the 1999 squad for Manchester United. Like, that's a bold statement to make, but I'm
Yeah, no,
honestly
no,
saying
I,
he's the only
I,
player.
I'll support that.
Yeah, so that is why, like, Bruno is an obvious pick, and his involvement in goals has been phenomenal, with I think 36 goal contributions in 35 games, the most in Europe during that game period. So a fantastic signing for United. So that is why my pick is Bruno, because they're also playing against Southampton. They will get some chances, and Bruno is probably the one who is going to be creating those chances. For De Bruyne, again, coming back to the same point as we mentioned before, City easy fixtures. De Bruyne, shots in the boxes, number of goals more. So he's gonna be a very integral part of that team right now. And I think De Bruyne, it's high time right now that De Bruyne starts, getting those points which he has been missing. He has been underperforming by a lot till now. So it can only go better from here. And starting with this game week against Burnley, I think this is where De Bruyne really shines. So that is why I went with De Bruyne and Bruno. So these are our picks for midfielders. Moving forward with the forwards. Sachin, let's start with yours. You picked Ollie Watkins and James Vardy. Watkins is in hot form. We've already mentioned about him in the game week in your squad. And Vardy, good pick against Fulham.
Yeah.
Good pick.
I think this is where Vardy might seem to find his form. Leicester are fourth right now, and Vardy is probably. I think I made this statement 3 or 4 videos ago that one of my top 3 picks for the entire season would be Vardy, because last season he won the Golden Boot, 23 goals. And Ankit, I actually was going to bring up Abraham, right before you made this pick. So Abraham has played 4 games, a total of combined 36 points. Werner played 9 games and only 48 points. So yeah, that's an amazing pick from you, Abraham. And
Correct.
And actually, one more important point would be that Abraham will get the differential compared to Kane, Watkins, or Vardy, right? So that's nice fight. So, bravo, Ankit. Kudos.
So I'll just tell you.
Let's have a segue for our sponsor right now. I think this is prime time. Who's our sponsor?
Okay.
Logitech. Are you willing to sponsor us? Classmate. Ooh, Star Wars fan in here? Anyone?
Adidas.
Oh,
Anyone?
okay, Adidas.
So as you mentioned, the differential, Kane is currently owned by 44.5% of FPL players, and Abraham is owned by 2.5% of FPL players. Yeah. So yeah, Abraham does bring in a lot of differential value to the squad right now. But I also think that Kane is, as I mentioned last week as well, that Kane is that one player who is a short giver. He has not missed since game week 1. Even last week, he got that assist and he got those points. Tammy Abraham, again, he's probably not a long-term solution, but till the time Pulisic is out from Chelsea squad, he is a sure starter. And in that central position, he's getting a lot of chances to score. Players like Werner, Ziyech, Kai Havertz, all of these players are creating the chances for Tammy Abraham, and he is very sharp in front of the goal. So that is why I picked Abraham for this week. And they play Spurs. The only chance that they're probably gonna get is that odd ball in the box that someone has to bounce upon, and Abraham is the perfect option for that for this game week. So that is why I went with Abraham. Captain pick is a very tough one this week, but I would probably go with the Kevin De Bruyne this week, Kevin De Bruyne this week.
I have and will suggest everyone to pick Mohamed Salah. Lord Salah. I don't know, I'm getting this stingy feeling that he'll be scoring a lot of goals. Come on, Salah, come on.
Makes sense. Good. He could.
Yeah.
So I think that was it from our side on this video. Smash the like button, comment your picks, and let us know what you think about our picks. Join the Football Daddy Fantasy League. Until then, we'll catch you the next one.
We want subscribers.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.